Hey everyone. So, sponsoring a child, it's a huge decision, right?
It is.
It can feel
Yeah,
overwhelming trying to pick the best organization?
totally. You want to make sure your contribution is actually making a difference. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
And that's what we're doing in this deep dive. We're looking at the top child sponsorship organizations, Impact and Transparency Report. It's from Help You Sponsor.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
Really breaks things down,
Right.
and it's going to help you figure out what really matters to you.
Yeah, and which organizations are really doing the work.
Exactly.
I think what's really cool about the report is it helps you think about your values first.
Oh, yeah.
Like, are you all about seeing exactly where your money's going? Or, do you want to see measurable impact?
Right.
Do you want something super local, or are you thinking globally?
Yeah, those are good questions.
And then it helps you find the organizations that, really match up with those values.
Yeah, and walk the walk. Okay, so let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
The first organization is Children International,
Mm-hmm.
and they are like rock stars when it comes to
Oh,
transparency.
for sure. They've got the top ratings from Charity Navigator and GuideStar.
Right. And those organizations are serious
Yeah.
about holding charities accountable, so that's a good sign, right?
Big green flag, for sure. They really lay it all out there.
Yes.
You see detailed financial breakdowns. They give regular updates to donors. It's like radical transparency.
Yeah, I love that.
And their commitment to data doesn't stop there, by the way.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
They use real-time tracking to see if their programs are really making an impact.
Right.
Like, they actually found that in one community, their after-school program was having a huge impact on keeping kids in school.
Oh, that's amazing.
And because they could track that progress, so closely, they were able to really focus on that program and make it even more effective.
Wow. So it's like data actually driving positive change, not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Right, exactly. It's about seeing what's working and what isn't.
Yeah, I love that. I also really love their community hub model. It's like instead of just focusing on individual kids, they're saying, hey, how do we create spaces where the whole community thrives?
Right. It's a much more holistic approach. Like, these community centers offer everything: education, healthcare, vocational training.
Uh-huh.
It's all about empowering people and building a strong community.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
They even offer microloans, to help families start businesses.
Oh, wow.
That kind of economic empowerment can really help break the cycle of poverty, which is what it's all about.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's switch gears a little bit and talk about World Vision.
Okay.
They're kind of the heavy hitters in this space, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Working in almost 100 countries
It's massive.
and tackling these big issues
Yeah.
like poverty, hunger, injustice.
Like huge GE problems.
It's a huge undertaking. How do they even begin to approach that?
Well, first of all, they have incredibly strong child protection policies. And they have a lot of anti-fraud measures in place. I mean, when you're working at that scale, you have to be extra careful with donations.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
They also understand that, cookie cutter solutions just don't work. You can't have the same approach everywhere.
Oh, for sure.
So they work with local communities and organizations,
Okay.
to design programs that actually fit the needs of that specific region.
It's so important.
They get that people on the ground, they understand the challenges the best. And they often have the best solutions, too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about respect,
Totally.
respecting local expertise and building those relationships, not just coming in and saying, we know best, here's how you fix it.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking of different approaches, let's talk about Unbound.
Okay.
They have a really personal, family-centered approach, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's what sets them apart. It's all about the one-on-one connections.
Yeah.
They connect sponsors directly with children and their families.
Oh, wow.
They provide support to help those families become self-sufficient.
Amazing.
And they're incredibly efficient with their resources, too. Like, a whopping 92.5% of donations go straight to program services.
Wait, 92.5%? That's incredible. I'm always a little, cautious of organizations that have a lot of overhead costs.
Right.
So that's really impressive.
Yeah, it shows that they're really committed to putting the money where it matters.
Exactly.
And remember that statistic about the 75% decrease in waterborne illnesses?
Oh, yeah.
That was Unbound, working with a community in the Dominican Republic to build water purification systems.
Wow.
They saw a need,
Yeah.
and they worked directly with the community to find a sustainable solution.
Amazing. Okay, now for all the tech lovers out there,
Yeah.
let's talk about Help You Sponsor.
All right.
So they're not a traditional child sponsorship organization. They don't connect individual sponsors with kids.
Right, they're more behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They provide what's called a SaaS platform.
DACE, what is that?
Yeah, it stands for software as a service. Basically, it means that. Well, instead of nonprofits having to buy and manage their own servers and software, they can access everything they need online.
Oh, so it's like a virtual toolbox for nonprofits.
Yeah, exactly. And it's packed with features that help them run more efficiently
Okay.
and transparently, too.
And this is especially helpful for smaller organizations, right? Because they might not have the resources to buy those fancy software systems.
Absolutely. It really levels the playing field. It helps them make a bigger impact.
Okay, so what kind of tools are we talking about here? Like, what's in this virtual toolbox?
Well, you've got real-time data tracking, automated reporting, easy-to-understand dashboards. It's everything an organization needs to measure its impact, talk to donors, and make good decisions.
It sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is. They can track things like school enrollment, how they're using their resources, even the long-term outcomes of their programs.
So they're basically helping other organizations be more effective and transparent.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. 4 very different organizations.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
But before we go deeper into each one, what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, it's fascinating how different each approach is, right?
It is.
But it's not about picking a winner, you know?
Right.
It's about figuring out what really speaks to your own priorities and values.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into the next part of our deep dive. We're going to get a little personal.
Ooh, getting personal.
We're going to help you figure out what really matters to you when it comes to making a difference.
Wait.
All right, so we've met the contenders, right? Children International, World Vision, Unbound, and Help You Sponsor.
Yep.
But remember, choosing a child sponsorship organization, it's not just about picking a name you like.
No way. It's way more than that. It's
Right.
got to line up with what you care about, your values.
Exactly. So let's dive into some of the things you should really think about.
I think one of the biggest things is, like, how do these organizations measure what they're doing, you know?
Like their impact.
Yeah. Are they just counting how many kids are in school,
Right.
or are they looking deeper?
To see if they're actually making a real difference in those kids' lives.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are they just checking off boxes, or are they thinking about the long-term impact?
That's a really good point.
Like Children International, for example.
Yeah.
They don't just track school enrollment. They look at graduation rates,
Oh, wow.
academic performance, even how their programs are affecting the kids, you know, socially and emotionally.
Trying to get the whole picture.
Exactly, the whole journey.
Which makes sense, you know, with their focus on education and those community hubs.
Right, it's about helping kids become well-rounded people.
To thrive in life.
Yeah. Now, World Vision, they take a bit of a broader approach.
Right.
They're looking at things like health, you know, have things gotten better, economic empowerment, how are things there, and child protection.
Right. So they're tackling those big systemic issues that can hold kids back.
Exactly. Looking at the whole ecosystem.
I'm curious, though, how do you measure something like child protection? That seems really hard to quantify.
It's definitely tricky, but super important. World Vision works with people who, like, specialize in this stuff
Okay.
to come up with things they can actually measure, like how many communities have groups dedicated to child protection,
Yeah.
or how many caregivers feel confident they can protect their kids.
Wow.
It's about creating support systems and then seeing if they're actually working.
That's really interesting. And what about Unbound? With their personalized family focus, how do they define success?
Well, for them, it's all about helping families break out of poverty.
Okay.
So they're tracking things like family income, you know, has it gone up,
Right.
healthcare access, and just the overall well-being of the family.
Because a child's success is tied to how their family is doing.
Exactly. It's that whole it takes a village thing.
Yeah. And then there's Help You Sponsor, which is totally different.
Right. Their platform lets organizations customize how they track their impact.
So instead of one size fits all, they give them the tools to track what's important to them.
Yeah, it's about flexibility and, like, giving them control.
I like that.
And it's not just about gathering data, it's about using it to learn and get better.
So they're helping other organizations be more effective and make real change.
Totally.
Now, I'm also really curious about this whole global versus local thing. World Vision is obviously global, while Unbound seems more focused on specific communities. Where does Children International fit in?
They're kind of in the middle, I'd say. They work in about 10 countries.
Okay.
So they have a presence in a few different regions, but they really focus on building strong relationships in those communities.
So it's about making a real difference in a few key areas rather than trying to do everything everywhere.
Right, exactly.
So it's kind of a balancing act, right?
Yeah.
With a global organization like World Vision, you might be reaching more people,
Yeah.
but maybe not as intensely. With a more local approach, You can really dig in and focus on creating lasting change in one specific area.
It really depends on what you're looking for. Do you want to cast a wide net or really zero in on a particular community?
That's a great question for our listeners to think about.
Totally.
What feels more impactful to you?
It's also good to remember, even with a big organization like World Vision, your sponsorship can still have a huge impact on a specific child and their family.
Oh, for sure. It's about that connection no matter the size of the organization.
Right.
And that makes me think of another question our listeners might have.
What's that?
How much say do I have in where my money goes?
Oh, that's a good one. It really depends on the organization. With Children International and World Vision, your money helps a bunch of programs in a community.
Okay.
You'll get updates about the community, but you might not be connected to a specific child.
So it's more about the whole community, not just one kid.
Yeah. Now, Unbound, they're all about that direct connection.
Okay.
You'll get letters and photos from the child you sponsor, and you can even visit them.
Wow.
It's much more personal.
So if that one-on-one connection is important to you, then Unbound might be the way to go.
Yeah.
But if you want to support a wider range of programs that help the whole community, then Children International or World Vision might be better.
Exactly. It's about finding what works best for you.
Okay, so thinking about everything we've talked about, what are the most important things for our listeners to consider? What should they be asking themselves?
I'd say it boils down to a few key questions. First, what kind of change do you want to make?
Right, like are you passionate about education, health, economic opportunities?
Yeah. Figure out what really resonates with you.
And then, how do you want to be involved? Do you want that direct connection with a child?
Or do you want to support bigger community programs?
And of course, there's transparency. How important is it for you to know exactly how your money is being used?
And what kind of communication do you want from the organization? Those are all things to think about.
Yeah, those are great questions. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning. It's a taste of what each organization offers, but there's so much more out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So do your research, check out their websites, read reviews, and really find the right fit for you.
Don't be afraid to dig in.
And remember, there's no one right answer. It's about finding the organization that speaks to your heart and makes you want to take action.
Perfectly said.
Now let's move on to the last part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore some more things you might consider, and I'm going to leave you with something to really think about. Get ready. All right, so we've talked about a lot. How organizations measure their impact, how transparent they are, even the whole global versus local thing.
Yeah.
But before you make your decision, there are a few more things to think about. I'm curious, when you think about the long-term vision of these organizations,
Yeah.
what comes to mind? Are they just trying to fix things in the moment?
Right.
Or are they really working towards lasting change?
Oh, that's such a good point. It's not just about helping right now. It's about setting things up so communities can thrive on their own, you know?
Yeah, it's like that saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day.
Exactly. And all the organizations we've talked about are trying to do that just in different ways.
Okay.
Like Children International with their community hubs.
Yeah.
Those are designed to tackle all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Education, health, economic empowerment. They're trying to build systems that break the cycle of poverty, you know?
Wow, that's really thinking ahead.
Yeah. And what about World Vision?
Yeah, they're working in so many places. It's hard to imagine how they make sure their work is really making a lasting difference.
Well, World Vision is really big on community ownership.
Okay.
They work with the people in the community to figure out what they need, and then they help them come up with their own solutions.
So they're not coming in and saying, this is how we do it.
No. It's more like, how can we help you help yourselves?
It's about empowering them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And that's where Help You Sponsor comes in too, actually.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Well, their platform gives organizations the tools to track how they're doing,
Yeah.
measure their impact, make smart decisions. And that data, it helps them figure out what's working and what's not.
So they can constantly get better.
Exactly. So Help You Sponsor is kind of like a support system for other organizations, helping them create lasting change.
That's really cool. And what about Unbound?
Yeah.
With their personalized approach,
Yeah.
how do they fit into this sustainability idea?
Well, the way Unbound works with families is all about sustainability.
Yeah.
They help families make plans that address their specific needs.
Yeah.
So that could mean education for parents, or maybe a microloan to start a business, maybe even helping them improve their homes.
It's about giving them the tools to build a better life for themselves.
Exactly. And it's not just about money, it's about being there for them, supporting them along the way.
It's amazing how all these organizations, even though they do things differently,
Yeah.
they're all working towards the same goal, right?
Yeah.
To help communities become stronger and create real change that lasts.
It's really inspiring, and I think that's what makes exploring all these options so cool.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to make a difference.
So many.
It's about finding what feels right to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up our deep dive here, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Okay.
We've covered so much:
We have.
transparency, impact, sustainability. But the most important question is, what kind of change do you want to be a part of?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because once you know that, you can find the organization that's the perfect fit.
And then jump in. The world needs more people who want to make a difference.
Absolutely. So thank you for coming along with us on this journey.
Mhm.
I hope this has sparked some ideas, maybe even ignited a little passion.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And most importantly, I hope you feel empowered to take action.
That's what it's all about.
So until next time.